Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is actually just gonna be a follow-up, a quick, I guess, yeah, just follow up to the fish and paddle tournament video that I made. As I was making the video, I did feel like there was certain things I wanted to touch on and kind of update you guys on, just because one thing is there were a few things that I felt like was concerning to me as far as what I was doing. And also, I also felt like there were certain things I wanted to get out there that might actually help keep you guys safer, but also improve your, I guess, productivity, I guess, if you want to call it that. But anyhow, I just want to like I said, just touch up on a few things that I thought of as I was making the other video. Let's just go ahead and roll right into the videos. I'm just going to talk over some video clips here. And just kind of just share my thoughts as we go along here. So let's just go ahead and roll through. So right here, I will actually get back into it and explain why I'm actually where I'm at right there, as I was rebaiting my hook after catching one of the bluefish that I had. So I'm actually backing up and pulling up, and already you guys can see the grip in the water. This is definitely a high current area. The water is going out. I'm trying to paddle up current to try to get to the spot where I'm going to drop my bait. There's a couple things that you got to be careful for here. Obviously, it's going to be very laborious to get up, so make sure that you're aware of this before you get in there. And secondly, you going against the current is going to make your kayak whip one way or the other pretty frequently, because as soon as your bow goes one way or the other, it's going to start pushing your kayak pretty hard that way. And you kind of see me sort of leaning there to try to get my kayak to turn a little bit more, but you got to know your kayak. And I know I pause it here, but you got to know your limits here and kind of how the feel of your kayak is before you start trying things out, I guess, intense situations like this. I am going to say, if you had not fished currents before, try to find a place where it actually is not this crazy. I know that we as fishermen, we hear where someone's catching fish and they'll just run out there. I'm hoping that no one just kind of rushes out there based on what my catches were, or some reports were that they could just go out and just have a blast on a very easy day of fishing. Because I am going to say it was a lot of work, and it was tiring, to say none the least. And I took many breaks throughout the day to kind of keep my energy up as much as possible. But anyhow, yes, the current's going to be going against you, so your kajak's going to be whipping. Main thing is you want to try to keep your bow, sometimes your stern, in the rear. But I will say that even if you have a reverse kayak, last year, if you see the videos from last year, I'll link it up above, but you'll actually see that I fished most of last year facing reverse and pedaling backwards. But the problem with that is that the current coming into your rudder, it flips your rudder one way or the other pretty hard, and you got to react pretty darn fast. And the amount of pressure that you put into your rudder steer is pretty incredible. You have to put a lot of force into it to try to get yourself back right. And I don't see that being the best for the rudder. So this year I actually fished a little bit. I started off the same way as last year, but I switched back to a different method, and it was actually working great for me. And it put a lot less strain on my rudder, so I fished like this for the most of the tournament here. But yes, when you can do it reverse, but just keep in mind that it's going to whip a lot harder when that rudder catches the current and wants to go one way. And so you're going to have to be able to make up for that really fast. And secondly, when you're facing whether into the current or down current, that's going to be usually the safest bet, just as long as you're not trying to fight it. So you'll rarely see my hand come off that rudder steer there, because I know that it's going to take me one way or the other. I'm just going to play this through here. So right here you see I'm getting a bite. It's taking me down current. Everything's going fine, but already you kind of see my kayak kind of tipping over sideways. But luckily, the fish actually started pulling back to my, I guess, my right or to the left of the screen. So it did actually kind of straighten my kayak, keep my kayak somewhat straight. But a lot of times when the fish just goes down current and just goes straight, you'll actually see the kayak turn sideways, perpendicular to the current. And that is where a lot of things can go wrong, especially when you go sideways in current. When you're just drifting down, fighting a fish sideways, I'm gonna say that the risk is gonna be less. Yeah, there still is risk, but since the fish is pulling you and you're just going with the current, there's no reason for the water to really climb on top of you. But let's just say that my bow actually gets caught up on one of the pilings sideways or goes reverse. You know what? I'm actually gonna go to a different clip here, and you'll actually start hearing the other guy that's actually fishing on the other side of the piling here, even warning me of the dangers that I'm facing. But this fish took me straight across between the pilings and went out the other side. And I was hesitant. I was thinking, do I go through or do I go back? But although you guys might feel like there's a lot of space, but the thing is, as soon as you're sideways, current takes you so quick. And if I were to pedal straight through the pilings there, and let's just say I get caught up there for whatever reason, I can't get out, that leaves me in a very high danger situation there, because anytime you get pinned sideways, you'll be okay for a moment, but the thing is, as soon as that water, the pressure coming at the side of your kayak goes on top of your kayak over the edge, that kayak's gonna dip, and actually it's gonna make you tip. And as soon as you do that, I mean, that current's gonna roll your kayak so quick, and you're not only gonna lose gear, but who knows, you might get tangled up on your rods, you might get tangled up under your kayak, just due to the way it's pulling you. There's so many things that could go wrong. So you want to keep your kayak facing north, upstream, downstream, as much as possible, and make sure you are aware. Awareness is like probably one of the things that I always emphasize. You got to know what's happening around you. Let's just say by chance here, like you're fighting a fish and a boat. There's a lot of crazy boaters that go around here, jet skiers or whatever, and just that weight coming from the side, even it doesn't have to be huge, but as soon as it just rocks you in a funny way, it takes you into a piling or whatever. So there's always something going around you. So you got to make sure you are familiar with your surroundings and make yourself constantly aware of your surroundings. I even actually had fishing line from people fishing above me on the pier coming down and actually just getting all wrapped up on my gear. And I can actually just show you the clip here where I actually had to fling one of the guy's lines off. But yeah, there are people above you fishing, so they're casting and do whatever. I've even had some lines casted at me while I was under the bridge. So you just got to make sure you know what's going on around you at all times, especially in a kayak under a bridge where people are actually even fishing too. So yeah, so make sure you know where you're going, how you're drifting back. Make sure you're in the clear before worrying about the fish. That leads me into telling you PFD, current, any type of crazy places where there's a lot of boats, a lot of current, a lot of uncertainties, definitely 100% PFD. Now I will throw out there that in situations that I'm familiar with and I feel like there's a higher risk of me running into danger due to heat more than current and stuff, just due to the circumstances I'm in. There have been times where I do fish with my PFD off. I'm not advertising it. I'm not saying it's the safe thing to do, but everyone has a choice to make. I mean, by rules, you have to have a PFD with you, not necessarily wearing, but I do encourage wear your PFD whenever you can. if not 100%, as much as possible, because I mean it's something that's going to save your life. Because I do agree, I'm a firm believer that anybody could drown in inches of water, just if given the right terrible circumstances. So PFD definitely a must in high current in situations like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of roll through a little bit more on this video here. So now this is gonna actually be a little bit more of I guess a fishing tip. Set your drag right. I mean, it's just, I did not set the drag here. You saw it dive, no drag was going out. That was a dumb mistake on my part. Always have your drag set, no matter what. Always check and recheck. Make sure that your drag is good. Now I'm gonna pause here. So this is a little unique situation where the current's going out. I'm actually between two pilings here. But the thing is that usually when there's a hard current going out, just like downstream, and you're on the downstream side of the pilings, you'll see a lot of kayaks do this. If you tuck your bow or your stern if you want, but really the bow of your kayak into that piling, the way the water whips around the piling actually creates a suction and brings you back into the piling, pulling you upstream practically. So you'll see a lot of paddlers, people that are actually hand paddling with paddle kayaks. They actually tuck into there, and that's how they get a lot of their fishing done. That's just kind of a common method when you're doing togging and all that as well. That is the best safe zone, I guess, where you could find to if you want to get some fishing in and you're getting tired. So I would say that is where you want to be if you want to just get some easier, I'm not gonna say it's easy, but easier fishing done behind those pilings. So I obviously busted my line. One of the new knots that I've learned, and I was actually very hesitant to use this, is actually an FG knot, not a new knot. It's always out there, but the old school method that I was familiar with has always been using your teeth, keeping pressure on your line, and it just got way too complicated. And in reality, like, you are not going to do that on a kayak. There's no way. But I actually found a way that actually you don't have to have pressure on the line, and you're going to get it done in a matter of like about a minute. And I actually just want to roll through it here. I'll just hit play. All right, you see I'm getting my leader out now. It's at 4 minutes 30 seconds. So let's just start the clock now, right? 4 minutes 30 seconds. Obviously I'm fumbling around, messing around with it, but my main point that I'm letting this roll is to show you that this knot does not take a crazy amount of time. Yes, it takes a little bit of time, but it is one of the best knots that I know of that keeps a very thin profile, and I believe as little profile as possible, especially in high current like this, especially fishing live bait, is very critical, because current catches almost anything, debris catches almost anything, so you really don't want too much of anything, or you really want it as clean as possible. And another thing that people fail to realize is that if fish run across these pilings and stuff, those knots, if it's chunky, that's another point that you could get tangled and stuck on something, right? So you want it as smooth as possible. Here at 5 minutes 40 seconds, and I'm here, I'm done. So literally from the time that I actually started tying the knot and getting it done, it was roughly about a minute. And you see there's no pressure. I used my teeth to tie the half hitch because my hands were wet and I wanted to make sure it was tight. But tying the FG knot, I didn't have to use my teeth or anything like that. I mean, this has proven phenomenal. I've caught up to, what is it, like the 8-point-something pound bluefish. Just the fish before this, it was a pretty hefty fish. It actually was my main line that popped before the knot even. And it's 30-pound test line that I was using. But yeah, less resistance, smaller knot, smaller diameter, increases castability, reduces likely of getting stuck somewhere, snagged, or picking up debris in the water. That's what you want. You want that smaller profile. And I know I stated it before, but typically in current, I try to stay as low of a pound test as I can. Typically, right, what I fish structure is probably like 50 or so pounds, but when I'm fishing for like structure fish, like tog or sheep's head. But in this situation, the fish that I was trying to go for, bluefish, rockfish, or whatever else, I did opt to stick with the 30-pound test, and it did just fine, just as long as you have the drag set properly. So, but before I go, I will say, just if you guys can subscribe, support the channel. We're trying to hit 500 here soon. I know that we've been kind of irregular with our content, but we are trying to get that out to you guys. So, but yeah, hit the subscribe button, comment, like if you like it. I'm not gonna say you have to, but definitely if you could just support the channel by subscribing and commenting wherever you can. All right.